and Nightingale. Oh, how I feel like this is going to be a love-hate relationship. If you are a fan of the channel and have watched for a while, you'll know that I don't have the best relationship with survival-esque games. That being said, this is made by Aaron Flynn, who, if you don't know, is ex-BioWare, who are very good at making awesome games. So recently they gave us a big old trailer to go through. It is mainly cinematic stuff, but there were some brief glimpses of gameplay. So we've got an idea of how the game looks, and also we have some of the concepts that they're working towards in the title as well. So Nightingale is based around the turn of the 19th century, kind of set up in a kind of alt spin-off of the Victorian era. And with the help of the Fae, you've basically built a network of gateways that's given you access to a whole host of different realms. Things go horribly wrong, however, when the portal network collapses and you are left kind of abandoned on the world that you last visited. And these people who travel between the worlds are known as realm walkers. And as a result of this, you are given two tasks. One is to survive on the locale that you ended up, and two, get home from where you originally came from. So yes, there is resource gathering, there is world building, there is base building, and there is also going to be a big PvE story element with NPCs giving you quests and missions and stories for you to follow. Out of all the PvE systems, one of the more interesting was the whole negotiation system. The example they used was with a giant, and you had two choices. One, that you give a giant this item and you resolve a conflict peacefully, or you don't give the item to the giant and he goes on a rampage crushing your base. And there's a brief scene where you see him jumping and stomping his foot through your base, and you can just see how destructive he is. Now this is something that really kind of they highlighted, was the fact that your base is pretty brittle and destructible. They showed multiple scenes where monsters were jumping into what you've built and crushing it like it was a twig. Now, I know this is probably early alpha and there's way more to this tale, but the first thought that came to my mind was, my god, that would get really old and really frustrating really quickly. But on the other side of that as well is I think that's quite cool, because I do like that kind of like PvE survival interaction, defend your base, rather than you just build something and occasionally something will scratch the outside wall and it just feeling a bit like, meh, why did I even build all of these defensive structures? One of the other interesting elements from this as well is the fact that they've also talked about the fact that you're not just going to be based around one central world, is the fact that you're going to be going through all these different realms to get home. And you're given kind of an option where you basically choose to get all your resources, use it to upgrade your character, or you can take it to another planet, build another base, and then, you know, use that as like a forward base for your operations or whatever they may be. Now the way I kind of see it is it's a bit more like Valheim, so you have your rings that are centered out in other worlds, and then you have your central base that you go out, you get resources and you come back to, and you generally set up smaller bases that you interact with rather than like, you know, a big global base in every single place that you go to. I don't know how far along the game is, but I gotta say it did look fairly well polished and pretty solid from what they did showcase. There was a whole multitude of guns. They showed a rifle, a shotgun, an axe, and also highlighted the fact that you'll be able to get access to a revolver as well. So there's lots of gunplay in this game. It won't be just a case of you forging a pointy stick and then a bow and then eventually getting to some sort of late game tech. By that point you're probably already bored and moved on to another game. The other thing I also noticed as well was that while there was building elements to it, it looks like that you build around things that already pre-exist on worlds. So there's kind of like a mini Taj Mahal that you'll notice you're building walls around, and maybe that's like some sort of survival element. That's the quest, you got to defend it while everyone finishes it off or something. But that is just a load of speculation at the moment, and maybe it was just someone who's very talented and built a really cool building that wasn't just a 2x4 for a change. The monsters as well look really, really cool. So, I mean, and the scale of them look amazing. There's like lots of planty kind of big beasties. There's the giant. There's also the huge kind of like dog lizard thing that you see at the end where everyone comes in to help you. There's also looks like there's like Enti style tree beasts that will, you know, have tentacles coming out of the ground everywhere. My personal one, which looks like it was pulled out of the Mimic film, with the creature with like a human-esque face and then turns into like a snake with wings and nothing but big nasty teeth. So I think there is potential for this game also to have a great evil horror-esque vibe depending on what biome that you're going to. And while we're on the topic of biomes as well, it looks like there seems to be a good variety planned as well. It also looks like the base building is planned to be pretty in depth. Some of the things that they built and showcased in the trailer look like they were really well detailed, and I'm sure that ticks all the boxes for people who love intricate building sandbox games where the only limit is your imagination. Other small things I've noticed as well is that the crafting seems more similar to that of the forest. If you have a look at them carrying wood, for example, it's been a big bundle on their shoulder rather than just having an inventory that can magically take in any amount of items no matter how big they are. If you look really carefully as well, it also looks like there's some sort of blimp system in the game. Nothing was explained about it whatsoever, but if you have a look in some of the screenshots, you can quite clearly see it floating around in the background. So maybe this is something that you can build later on down the line and use it to traverse the big open worlds. How you fit a blimp through a portal, I have no idea, but I am looking forward to seeing how it's all been put together. Anyway, that's all I've got on it for now. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Are you excited for this? Are you a BioWare fan? I want to hear about it. But until then, have a great week, and I'll be back with more news soon.